Vidyahotra, and Kavi. These are also the names of Agni, the god of the fire god. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamniti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashade Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I would like to seek blessing from all the assembled Vaishnavas and thank you for giving me an opportunity to purify myself. Please forgive me for any shortcoming or adding my own purport or adding my own interpretation. I'm summarizing the purport here after listening lectures from a couple of senior Vaishnavas. Just want to touch base on two things. One, the meaning of Priyavrat, and in text 24 we heard about Varnashrama. Going a little bit detail about Varnashrama in this today's purport. The name of word Priyavrat means one who holds dear or is dedicated to sacred spiritual vows. To break the word, Priya means beloved, dear, or fond of. Vrata means vow, promise, or commitment. So, we should also follow the path of the Priyavrat, the meaning of Priyavrat, which means we should also dedicate ourselves to the Krishna consciousness and always chant and perform, be with the association of Krishna devotees, reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and chanting, and also deity worship. We should also make sure that our vows should be dear like Maharaja Ambarisha. We can also we can also be as dear as our own Srila Prabhupada, who started this movement, traveling all the way from India to US and established his society about 6 years back. And in one of the purport in the Bhagavad Gita, even Prabhupada gave us how can we be close to Krishna consciousness? Daily by chanting 6 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and following the principles. Now, in the text 24, we also saw the Varnashrama Dharma and wanted to give a little bit details as captured from the notes and again from the ISKCON books. So one of the thing what I captured is one should therefore be brought to Satoguna by the establishment of Varnashrama Dharma and should develop the Brahmanical qualifications of being very neat and clean. It's like rising early in the morning, seeing Mangalarati, and so on. In this way, one should stay Satoguna, and then one cannot be, in this way, one cannot be influenced by Tamoguna and Rajoguna. A very classic example is we can see a largely nurtured in a rural setting, and the scripture recommends a simple life, free from unnecessary complications, and also from the contaminated material world in large cities, and free from unnecessary complications. Varnashrama Dharma is closely associated with an agrarian culture, which fosters a mode of dependence on God. Here, what we can say, the village demonstrates the influence of goodness, sattva. The town is compelled by the passion rajas and sinful places, such as modern cities, and bound by ignorance, tamas. The whole system of Varnashrama Dharma is designed to bring everyone step by step to the level of goodness, and as we described in the rural setting. Let's also hear this a word from Bhagavatam, given in Canto 1, Chapter 19, and text 3 and 4. Where wealth and strength are not engaged in advancement of Brahmanical culture, God consciousness, and co-production, the state and home are surely doomed by providence. If we want peace and prosperity in the world, We should take lessons from this verse. And every state, every home must endeavor to advance the cause of Brahminical culture of self-purification. God consciousness for self-realization and co-production for getting sufficient milk and the best food to continue for a perfect civilization. Purpose from the text 4 says that the life of human being is a chance to prepare oneself to go back to Godhead or to get rid of this material existence, the repetition of birth and death. Thus, in the system of Varnashrama Dharma, every man and woman is trained for his purpose. In other words, the system of Varnashrama Dharma is known as Sanatana Dharma or eternal occupation. The system of Varnashrama Dharma prepares a man for going back to Godhead. We also see foolish men forget the sure fact of death and neglect the duty of preparing themselves for going back to Godhead. They spoil their lives in animal propensities to eat, drink, and be merry and enjoy. Such an irresponsible life is adopted people in the age of Kali because of sinful desire and to condemn the Brahminical culture, God consciousness and co-production, for which the state is responsible. The state must employ revenue to advance these three items and thus educate the populace to prepare for death. The state which does so is the real welfare state. The state of India should be better follow the example of Maharaj Parikshit, the ideal executive head, than to imitate other materialistic states, which have no idea of kingdom of Godhead, the ultimate goal of human life. Deterioration of ideals of Indian civilization has brought about a deterioration of civic life, not only in India but abroad. This is taken again from Bhagavatam 1.19.4. Interesting that I also captured something which Narada Mahamuni has also mentioned. One may claim proprietorship to as much wealth as required to maintain body and soul together. But one who desires proprietorship over more than that must be considered a thief, and he deserves to be punished by the laws of nature. Taken from Srimad Bhagavatam 7.14.8. Srila Prabhupada, materialists are inventing so many artificial necessities, and those who have money being allured by such artificial necessities try to accumulate money to possess more and more. This is the idea of modern economic development. Everyone is engaged in earning money, and the money is kept in the bank, which then offers money to the public. In this cycle of activities, everyone is engaged in getting more and more money, and therefore the ideal goal of human life is being lost. Instead of we chanting and praying to Supreme Person of Godhead, we are investing in materialistic life. Narumani also says, even if one a householder, one should not endeavor very hard of religiosity, economic development or satisfaction of the senses. One should be satisfied to maintain body and soul together with whatever is available with minimum endeavor. One should not engage oneself in ugra karma, taken from Bhagavatam 7.14.10. We must come to understand that other than the simplified lifestyle which helps us to meet all the basic necessities of the body, mind and spirit soul, there is no better scientific system, no more practical system, no more simpler system than this one created by the Lord Himself. We can also see Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita 4.13. Chaturvarna maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasaha tasya kartaram api mam vidhi akartaram avyayam. According to three modes of natural nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of the system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. The word avyayam is important. And the Lord is unchangeable, so the system He creates being perfect and completer is also unchangeable. In this perfect system, masterminded by the greatest of all geniuses, Himself by Lord Sri Krishna, to help facilitate conditioned souls to function at their best levels, both materially and spiritually. Kavatnami, we must come to know is the simplest, noblest, and most effective of all economic systems. It is intimately connected with natural agriculture, the best way for a nation to acquire wealth. Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of America, had this to say: there seems to be three ways of nation to acquire wealth. The first is by war, as the Romans did, in, in plundering their conquered neighbors. This is robbery. The second is commerce, which is generally a cheating. The third is agriculture, the best and the honest way. When a man receives a real increase in the of the seed thrown into the ground in a kind of continual miracle, wrought by the hand of God in his favor as a reward for his innocent life and his virtuous industry. We also see this from again Bhagavad Gita 3.14. Annat bhavanti bhutane parjanya anna sambhavaha yagnat bhavati parjanya yagna karma samudbhavaha. All the living entity, all the living entities subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performing yagna, sacrifice, and yagna is born of prescribed duties. Thus, the Varnashrama system being dictated and advocated by the Lord Himself should never be abandoned or altered. It is a part of a tradition whose basic principles and concepts remain perpetually current and practical. It is not that now we are living in the so-called modern times where due to advancement of technology it is no longer necessary to use a standard traditional method of plowing with bullocks. Today we have tractors, wonderful machines, and can do more work at much greater speed than traditional ox power driven plow. We have motorized vehicles and superhighways. We don't need bullock carts to travel, for they are cumbersome, take much time, and simply cannot be compared to modern day cars. In one of a book written by one of the senior Vaishnava, he says, Daiva Varnashrama is open for everyone. Everyone in this modern society can participate in the Daiva Varnashrama society. One must find a profession or a trade by which he can honestly, without violating the regulative principles mentioned above, should perform his duty. If one is engaged in a job where principles are violated, then by patiently chanting Hare Krishna and regularly associating with devotees, Krishna will help the devotee find a more suitable job where he don't need to cheat or don't need to rob. The sustained connection to Lord Krishna begins a reciprocal relationship where all the spiritual desire of a devotee to advance in holy life and offer service to the Lord are satisfied by the mercy of the Lord. There are stark differences between spiritual and material desires. The spiritual desires of an individual are always discussed with spiritual mentors or gurus who are experts in channeling one's natural tendencies for the service and work to please Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna said, one who is knowledge of the absolute truth, Almighty armed, does not engage himself in senses and sense gratification, knowing the well difference between work in devotion and work for fugitive results. Work for fugitive results, the purport from Bhagavad Gita 3.28. Once a devotee has a specific varna social position and work that corresponds to his natural tendencies, then he situates himself in the right ashram. Thus, success is sure for the rigid practitioner. The 16th century Vaishnava saint Rupa Goswami has said, one can execute the process of bhakti yoga successfully with full-hearted enthusiasm, perseverance and determination by following the prescribed duties in the association of devotees, by engaging completely in the activities of goodness, taken from Upadesamrita 3. I would like to stop here. Thank you for giving